they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems alright when we're poisoning pigeons in the park. La la, la 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 doo-doo-doo. We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call
Good afternoon, evening. Why am I even starting like that? Hello, ladies, gentlemen, both and neither. This is your host, Peter, silly guy who is doing this. Fast listen. And tonight, for the first half of our stream, we will be reading and editing The Not Immortal Blacksmith, Interlude, The Adventurers 2. This is chapter 9. Ninth posting? Whatever it is. Anyway, it's number 9. So, I've got a little doohickey going. Chat settings. What the heck? I have no clue what that's about. Alright, never mind. We'll go back to just watching chat. Hopefully my sound is good. If it's not, well, I hope someone will tell me. And boom. Alright. And here we get. Alright, microphone all set up. Good. And here we are. All right, Cody, I believe that's our target, Harold said. I told you to call me Gandalf, you noob, Cody responded. All right. I need to already start with editing. That should be quote marks. Who really wants to be called Gandalf anyway? I mean, seriously, it's just some old fart. Gonna get hate for that eventually. Told you to call me Gandalf, you noob, Cody responded. Oh, I'm getting some jumpies over here. Oh well. Maybe it's just my eyeballs being stupid. And I told you to pick a proper name, not steal one from ancient history, Harold said, sighing. They were hidden in a small grove of trees where the underbrush was very overgrown, and looking at their newest target for the king. The target in question was wearing fairly nondescript brown homespun peasant garb. Even though he was the guest of the Duke, complete with sturdy boots and a wide-brimmed straw hat. He could have been anyone in a crowd, so they had to make sure. Harold took a deep breath. Fine, Gandalf. More editing to interrupt the story time. Now, once these are all properly done, the ever blue faces. My lord, these days I'll get this right. One of these days, monkeys will fly out of my posterior. Yep, I said it first. Fine, Gandalf. Pull up that guy's character sheet and let's see if it really is him. Needs to be italicized because we're putting some emphasis. Just a second, Gandalf Cody took a deep breath, then intoned, "Show me your sheet." After another moment, Gandalf Cody read out loud, "Name, Maxwell Smithson. Human. Experience points, error. Class, NPC, Smith, error. Class, NPC, Tinker, error. Class, NPC, Tailor, error. Class, NPC, Warrior, error. Class, Cleric, 1. Class, NPC, Noble, 1. Class, NPC, Enchanter, error. Class, Thief, 3. Class, Magic User, 3. Class, Artificer, error. Class, NPC, error. Class, NPC, error. HP, 33, asterisk. AC, -7, ... 17. Error. Thaco 1. Strength 15 plus 2. Dexterity 13 plus 1. Constitution 12 plus 1. Intelligence error. Wisdom error. Charisma 13 plus 1. Save versus paralyzation, poison, and death magic 8. Save versus rod, staff, or wand 10. Save versus petrification or polymorph 10. Save versus breath weapon 10. Save versus spell 10. Will, error, strength, plus/minus 8. Asterisk. Proficiency bonus 3.14159. Asterisk. Other proficiencies in languages: Coven, Common, Dwarven, Tools, error. Weapons, error. Greater Weapons Master, asterisk. Idiot. This is way too weird. I don't get this at all. What WTF is Thaco? How do you get an AC of -7? Gandalf Cody shook his head, frowning. And thief or magic user? What kind of classes are those? Harold, shaking his head as if to clear it, said, What? Thaco? That's way old. That should have a couple of A's and a Y's. Way old. Like older than both of us put together. Something about this is weird. Maybe we should go back. A gruff voice behind them spoke up. Go back where, boys? Yeah. It is an interlude. It's not that particularly long. It does effectively say what I wanted it to, even though it's barely a page long. Well, 372 words. Yeah, that's about a paperback's worth of pages. So we are going to skip into the next one. I just figured out what the blur is coming in on my left side. That would be me moving things around on my computer, because it's not an instant thing. There's a couple second delay. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Yep, about 2.5, 3 seconds. All right, there's that. Now we bring up the next one in theory, which would be chapter 10. Now let's see if we can make the computer tell us which one it is. Window capture. Shipping mishaps isn't up yet, you silly thing. There we go. Not Immortal Blacksmith. Interlude. The Abbot of Coxnea. First, last, next. Oh, wow. That was back when I actually put the links at the top of the page, not just the bottom, on Reddit. That's impressive. That takes me back. That was back when I first learned that I needed to do that, too. Let's see now. This is chapter, or post number 10. It really needs... I didn't add dates to the last one, and I haven't added them to this one either, which is something that I really need to do, but I'm not going to take the time in the middle of this to try and figure out the dating thing. Yeah, figure out dating. That's something I'll never figure out. I just don't understand it. Even my girlfriend scoffs at me on that one. All right, this chapter, The Not Immortal Blacksmith, Interlude, The Abbot of Coxnea. A correspondence between the Abbot of Coxnea and the Archbishop of the Goddess of Tranquility. Dearest Archbishop of our Goddess of Tranquility, I find myself in need of informing you of the recent events here in the Duchy of Coxnea. I, as the local priest in charge of such things, was asked to be the officiate at the wedding of Sir Einar of the Land of Ice and his fiancée, Lady Beatrice. The wedding itself was a wonderful affair, but the goddess herself was in attendance, and as her escort was Maximilian, god of war. As a side note, as I don't find it too important, Bjorn was also in attendance. The most stressful thing of the whole wedding was the heretic blacksmith. Was that Dear Lord, how could I miss a four-letter word? You know, they're all evil. Sorry about that. The most stressful thing to the whole wedding was that the heretic. Alright. Heretical. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Was that the heretical blacksmith was there. I do not understand why the goddess would let such a man exist, let alone come to a wedding in which he was involved. I also don't understand why the goddess would wink at me like that. My heart has not yet fully recovered. Yours in tranquility, Abbot Cecil. Here we have that, which just needs to be a dash. Dearest Abbot Cecil of Coxnea, I would never dare to guess our goddess's intentions. You have been graced by her presence now, and should be grateful for it. The fact of her escort being the god of war is an interesting tidbit, but do not bandy it about, as it may have dire consequences down the road. As for Bjorn, I have no idea as to why he was there. Thank you for reporting the deeds of the heretic. Thank you for reporting on the deeds of the heretic. It is much appreciated. I will attempt to speak to the king on the subject of the heretic again, as such a person should not be walking this land. Be well and keep tranquility in your heart. What in the heck, blue blazes? There we go. Doch Ir, Archbishop of Tranquility. Man, these are short chapters. Barely more than interludes. And that makes me sad. Whatever was I thinking? Alright, let's futz around here and see if we can get things set up right. There we go. 11. Add more information and fill out the details. Yeah, this is another one that needs beep. Another chapter that needs dates. I'm going to have to copy and paste at least the beginning from after Soldier for this. So, Redux 11, The Not Immortal Blacksmith, Spy. Yes, I stole a book title, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, because it was funny for the chapter titles. Einar and I definitely needs this. Journal of Maxwell Smithson. There we go. From the Journal of Maxwell Smith. Max L. Man, I can't even spell my characters' names properly anymore. And I suddenly can't, because I don't remember if it's 1L or 2 today. Einar and I arrived at my new lands today. The place is awful. I informed Einar that it was his problem now. He begged me to help. I acquiesced. In one of these horrible things. We cleaned out the rest of the bad seed today. The old money's people don't like it, but too bad for them. Oh my lord, you know what? First thing I'm gonna do is go through and just do a spelling and grammar check. Because this is just... And ignore that word just once. That. Doing. Ignore that one. That. Okay. Gonna ignore that. That. And that. And that. That one. And that one. a lot of these are place names that we're having to ditch out. We're going to ignore that one. That's another name. Nor King's demon controlled. That. Go la la. Whipped. Or I learned. Oh, and this is actually like a 5-page one, so 1,600 words. I think we're gonna leave them out. Okay. Yep. Ignore. New. Nope. Nope. And ignore. That's nice. We're gonna get rid of this shit because he never would have actually said that. Never would have learned it from Tristan. ETFN. That's a holy me thing being stupid back then. Or these are old. There's my girlfriend in the background laughing at me again. You goofball. I know. Alright, too bad for them. Don't know if that's really the right word. I'm not going to look it up. Einar is making headway. Good for him. He is supposed to get married soon. There are bandits on the border with one of the neighbors. Wonder why they haven't taken care of it. That should be a question mark. And that went and did some looking the last few weeks. Turns out Einar's wife-to-be is... oh no, it's not there. Alright, there we go. Turn that back. Turns out Einar's wife-to-be is a bad apple, as Tristan would say. When I told Einar about it, he was... I'm gonna add quite upset. We will be raiding the bandit camp soon. Raid went well. Caught the nobles red-handed. The king's judge will be around to make the decision at some point. Well, the judge did as I expected. What the hell was that for? Hate pop-ups even when they're supposed to be there. Well, the judge did as I expected. All of the bandits and all of the nobles were sentenced to death, including the children. I may have to do something about that. Did something about it. The children's maid is kinda cute. Keeps making moon eyes at Einar. Einar is marrying the lady's maid. Good. Plan worked. The goddess's head priest is set to do the deeds. Do the deed. Idiot. Bjorn made it to the wedding. So did some unsavory individuals. I did good. No one was shot. Why did that idiot and her consort, the other idiot, show up with Bjorn? Apparently they met up on the road. All in all, I had a good day. God, I need to add dates to this. But I didn't start using the calendar until probably halfway through writing this book. So I have to go back and count days and weeks and months and years as they are mentioned, try and find out or figure out where and when each thing is happening. And from this point here, where we are right now, to here is 3 years. So, annoying. But, Maxwell wasn't always very good at keeping up on his journal. Alright, back to the story. I am Contractions vest. You can use them. Yes, you can. Who's a good little author? Not me, but we try. I'm leaving in a few weeks. It's almost been 3. My lord, my writing. It's been almost 3 years. Einar has a daughter. I was surprised when I was asked to be the godfather. I hate that stupid thing when it shows up. I accepted. Guess I'm stuck to this family now, too. Maybe I should look up my own kin again? Has been a few years since I last saw any of them. Yeah, it's only been what, 150, 200 years at this point? Something like. A couple of chosen ones were skulking in the bushes today. When I surprised them, they let it slip that the king wanted me to visit, by hook or by crook. I decided not to hurt them too much. They are just doing their jobs. There. Oh. Hey, Zaiku. Bwahahaha. At least somebody laughs, my idiocy. They are just doing their jobs. I'm going to italicize that. Whoever the next editor is going to hate me, so why not? I snuck out last night, surprised the kids at their secret camp. We leave. Be chosen ones. N-E-S. Alright. Surprised the chosen ones in their secret camp. We leave for the king in the morning. King Gregory Yuri Bartholus isn't a complete idiot, as he lacks his mother's complete devotion to the goddess. Apparently, my looking into the neighbors did not go unnoticed. Greg wants me to go. Bleh. Greg wants me to go have a looky-loo at the neighboring kingdom of Dupfalzia and see what I can find out. I know he isn't telling me everything. I am willing to. Traction's best. I'm willing to bet that the goddess is up to something. Again. Also, there are way too many adventurers wandering around the capital these days. Idiots. I have taken the King's Highway, an 1,800-mile-long, heavily traveled road that runs from our capital of Garthax to the Deepfalzian capital, Lagendburn, and have stopped for a while to test the waters in the city Lostcairn. It is near enough to the border to get a lot of trade and information without being too close. After 6 months of rumors, information, and bad ale, I have learned enough to continue my journey. The accents change a bit from what I am used to, but nothing significant. Accents changed. I think changed as opposed to change. The accents changed a bit from what I'm used to, but nothing significant. I'm off in the morning to continue my journey. Yeah, I think 6 months is probably long enough to get some input on how things are run, or how things look in an area. I may be wrong. If anybody here has experience spying, let me know. I have stopped on the other side of the border, a nice business town named Curside. If I wasn't traveling on business, I would set up shop here for a while. I plan on staying for about 6 weeks in order to set up a business. Naked Eagle traveling. I cannot read again this week. Naked Eagle Traveling Tinker and Smithing will be my new cover. As I've never been in this country, I should be able to use my old name again. It has taken 2 weeks for the bureaucracy to get back to me, and now I have my travel permits and business license. Hello. The demonic incursion of a while ago really hasn't abated much, so trade and travel have become somewhat restricted. Why do I not embrace contractions? It's recommended to not venture from the roads without a party of 3 or more. I think I will be fine as long as I stick to the highway. God, those things are getting so annoying. Why did I do that to myself? Oh, here we go. I have an idea. Find in document. Okay, where's the replace button? Why am I not finding a replace button? Heading. Results. Replace. There we go. Replace with dash. Replace all. Yay! I are so smart. SMRT. Thank you, Homer Simpson. Alrighty, back to the book. The goddess approached me in the street without all of her bells and whistles and politely asked me to meet with someone in a nearby cafe. I was in a good mood, so I agreed. The individual in question was was Azlakael, the god of chastity. Apparently, I haven't been whoring enough, as he asked me if he could become my Patreon deity. I didn't shoot either of them. Honestly, I was too shocked by their stupidity. If the idiots ever left me alone, I might actually settle down and get married again, I told them. Well, if the no, if you idiots ever left me alone, I might actually settle down and get married again, I told them. Well, actually, I have no intention of any such thing, but they don't need to know that. Papers in hand, tinker's wagon loaded. I think that should be tinkering. Papers in hand, tinkering wagon loaded. I have left Kerside. And bandits. That really needs to be a longer A. And bandits. Too bad for them. They weren't fireproof. Delivering messages and reports to blind drop points is tedious and boring. I have been slowly traveling the highway for over a year now. I stop at each town for between 2 weeks and a month. Towns average about 100 miles apart, with smaller villages, walled inns, or holdings every 15 to 20 miles. The distance between stops really varies by the terrain the highway runs through. The people are mostly pleasant, especially to working travelers such as myself. I have been uh, corrections. I've been contracted a few times to carry letters to towns that are on my way. I wonder if a mail system, such as Tristan talked about, would be a good idea. See 3 separate groups of bandits on the road today. One bandit claimed he was a wanted man in 5 kingdoms. I replied that I didn't want him. They are Now that doesn't look right. Let's find out what the actual spelling is for it, since my brain is dead. Really? Really? Is that? Okay, I didn't think it was. Wow, I feel dumb now. They're all dead. The next travelers can pillage the corpses. I have spent the last 3 years traveling the King's Road through Deep Fallsia. I'm going to attempt to travel into the demon-controlled territory. I have been told it's very risky. I like the word quite better than very. I don't know, maybe it's just me being influenced by what I've been reading lately. Um, I have been told it's quite risky, but I've gotten bored of the same road day in, day out. I have arrived at my starting point, the village. I'm deleting that. Of Bairn Falls. It is small, and apostrophe S. It's small and supports a keep as well as walls. My wagon and I will start our journey tomorrow. No more than 3 miles into the no man's land of the border, and I have run into. Contractions, where have you been on all my life? No more than 3 miles into the no man's land of the border, and I've run into a demon patrol. When they approached my wagons, I attempted to sell them some of my wares. When the leader and I locked eyes, he visibly twitched and ordered his men to leave this one alone, warn the other patrols. Their loss. I have only seen demon patrols at a distance, and when they notice me noticing, when they notice me, and when they notice me noticing them, they disappear. All right, back to the spell check on that one. Why are we going all the way? Ignore, ignore, ignore. Okay, apparently I can spell occasionally. That makes me happy. Their loss. I have only seen demon patrols at a distance, and when they notice me noticing them, they disappear. Something isn't right. Isn't right. Yeah, it should be about that. Something isn't right about that. I found my first village. Well, I found my first road, anyway. The remains of the village I found were very old and burned. I buried the few. Should be remains. I buried the few remains that I found. That doesn't need to be there. I buried the few remains I found, even the demon ones. Leaving bodies out to rot can cause disease. Don't people know that? I have decided to chase a patrol. I want answers, and I haven't found any settlements that still have inhabitants. I have been following the same patrol for 3 days. They seem frightened. They are slowing. Directions. Every time I say contractions, take a drink. How's that sound? I have been following the same patrol for 3 days. They seem frightened. They're slowing down and getting sloppy. I should catch them tomorrow. I drove into their camp just after dawn. They scattered. I chased down the best equipped of them. It gave me some information. It gave me some information before attacking me. It seemed desperate. I think the quality. Yeah, I think the quality of demon troops is dropping. Tomorrow I will follow up on what it told me. The walled village of Bumish is small, just over 3,000 people of all races. The guards are rail thin and iron hard. Finally, some answers. Of my. Well, it's kind of obvious that it's my, but whatever. I have sold a good amount of my wares and weapons, collected a small amount of information, and have moved on. Road is the same one I found before, but in slightly better condition. No bandits. The demons don't like the competition. should be as the demons don't like the competition. No demons either. I'm heading north. The demon patrols are still avoiding me. I should reach the walled city of Gillip in the morning. Gillip is surrounded by demon troops. I have decided to just drive my wagon to the gate and request entry. That was interesting. The demon horde parted for me, making a nice little road. They even stopped assaulting the front gate. The townsfolk were hesitant at first, but did let me in. The demons seem to have stopped the assault for now. I have been in Gillip for 2 weeks. I have now been in Gillip for 2. You see, it's this little control thing right there. Every time it pops up, it just bugs the piss out of me. There's no reason for it to be there. It just, and I have no clue how to turn it off in Word. I have now been in Gillip for 2 weeks. The people are nice enough and starting to relax a bit. The demons haven't tried an assault since I arrived. The Knight General in charge of the city has asked me to accompany him to a meeting with the demon who claims to own the area. I have accepted. The demon, there we go. What in the bloody blazes was that? The demon, Gexra, lord of all he surveys, wasn't happy to see me. He may have looked a bit familiar. Anyway, a peace of sorts has been established. No more demon raids, low tax structure, no more sacrifices, blah blah blah. Looks like, oh look, contraction. Have a drink. Looks like I'll be traveling again soon. At a prompt from the Knight General, I did say something like, would be a shame if I had to come back here to Gexra before the signing of the accord. One more dead drop, and I think I'm done being a spy. It's been 3 years? I think I'm going to tour this country properly and then head down the coast to the Elven lands. Hasn't it been more like 4 or 5? I'm gonna have to check that out. Note to self. Check out years spent in this chapter. Yay, I can speakers. God, I wish I could. Public speaking, never been my thing. Chapter space dash space. Add dates and EXPAND. Oh dear lord. This sort of shit takes a lot more than I'm used to. Alright, now we control A. We turn it into a font I actually like. And a size I like. I don't know what people happen to think of Bookman old style, but I find it a bit easier to read, all things said and done. Although I'll probably change my mind later on. Alright, time check, 8:38. I've been doing this for 38 minutes? Damn. My throat doesn't even hurt that much. Alright. And that last one was 11. Yep, that last one was 11. Now let's check. Ooh, this will be funny. Look, it's you on you. Alright. Bippity boppity boop. And boom. Post 12, chapter 12, whatever. The Not Immortal Blacksmith. Demons. Select dispatches between the Demon Lord Gexra of the New Lands to High Commander Esserfin of the Fourth Army. High Commander Esserfin, we have had a sighting of of Maxwell the Heretic. He attempted to sell his malicious wares to members of Scout Unit 7. The sergeant in charge almost gave the go-ahead, but then looked into the heretic's eyes and knew him for what he is. He has now been God-touched 4 times. I have had orders sent to avoid interaction while keeping an eye on him. Demon Lord Gexra of the New Lands. Well, it's short. That won't bother me too much. I'm going to add yes, TP. I need TP from anyway. 2. Oh, lowercase. To Demon Lord Gexra of the New Lands. Wise choice on your orders. Give the sergeant an additional kitten ration as my thanks for his quick thinking. Hell only knows what would have happened if any of our troops acquired his weapons. I, Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. And again, a 2. 2, High Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. He has struck. He ran down a larger He ran down one of our larger patrols and interrogated the lieutenant in charge before killing her. I have called back the physical scouts and have assigned a sorcerer to keep watch over him. He is heading towards the town of Bumash. I hope that he will return to the human lands after he has finished his business here. Demon Lord Grexa. Two, Demon Lord Grexa. Keep watching the heretic. Orders from on high are to observe but not detain. I am becoming concerned. The High One has taken an interest. You know, they tell you when you're doing Twitch streams, you should never stop. You should always just constantly talk to the camera. That really gets annoying when I'm trying to actually type and talk at the same time, because apparently my monkey brain doesn't allow me to do both at once. 2. High Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. He has arrived at Gillip, where we are laying siege. Before I could order any such action, our troops parted for him. This raises my concerns greatly. I pulled our troops back from the gate, and the townsfolk allowed him entrance. I await your orders before pressing the attack. To Lord Gexra. He did what? By all the hells, the cheek of that man. Although it was probably for the best, your orders are to wait him out. Seesaw attacks until he has left the area. We have no idea as to his powers. God-touched humans are bad. Touched by 4 of them? I doubt even the High Lord knows. High Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. To High Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. He came out with the Knight Protector earlier today under the white flag. Not to surrender, but to parley. We eventually came to an accord, which I fully intended to break after the heretic departed. But he said words that make me feel, for the first time in my existence, fear. He said, would be a shame if I had to come back here. I now know how our great uncle felt before he fell. What are your orders, Gexra? Gexra, get it together. Orders from on high say that we must. No. Period. Gexra, get it together. Orders from on high say that we must abide by the accord until the heretic dies. Your orders are simple. Keep an eye on the heretic. Obey the accord. Do not attract attention of the heretics. Perhaps in the future we could recruit him to our cause. Good luck and hell speed. High Commander Esserfin, 4th Army. All right. Oh, brain fart. Um, I am gonna start break time a bit early. Right after this, I need to get a new commercial for Bubba J, our one and only sponsor for this Twitch broadcast. I will be back in about, let's see now. I need to smoke. Well, first, let's do the last little fiddly bits of editing. Bookman, size 12, and everyone's favorite, the review. Ignore all. Ignore all. Hey, what do you know? All but oh my lord. And I just read it too. There we go. Spelling and grammar complete? No, that can't be right. Alright, I'll be back in about 10-12 minutes. Need a smoke. Need a bio break. Oh god. Need to yawn. And then set up shipping mishaps for the continuation of that for the second half. Tonight might actually end a little early because I'm not feeling the bestest. But such is our life. Here, have a squirrel. And we're back, ladies, gentlemen, both and neither. Carrot Head 2000. Squirrel! Yes, you are correct. That is. Ah, Zaiku, thank you for being here. I appreciate your assistance as always. I am no longer on break. So, that accounts for... There's Carrot Head, Zaiku. I'm watching my own stream because I'm a horrible cheat. Who's the last person we got here? Say hi. If you don't, I'll have to start reading without knowing, and that'll make me sad. All right. So, I hate leaving pauses after being told not to. Stupid internet is evil and mean. Arg. All right. Speak, so commands the Lord. Dear Lord, I hope I'm not a lord. That would be like Maxwell. I really need to get Brother Proof on here with us. Perhaps someday. As if he's actually going to want to speak live. He is my real brother, and he's also a goofball. Love him to death, but he's a goofball. What are you doing? All right. Shipping Mishaps, chapters 6 to 10, re-edited. Currently saved. To sum up the story thus far, for those who weren't here before, Geo is an Earthling who beat up a bunch of aliens after spending 12,000 years in cryosleep, and has just accidentally killed 5,000 people. Or sorry, 500 people that were in a opposing spaceship that decided that it would be a good idea to shoot their giant hunk of junk that they're in, which happens to be, think equivalent of the Bismarck going up against a small medieval traveling ship. So, that's where we are right now. Chapter 8. It was midsummer 2041, and a child was missing in the Boundary Waters Canoe area. A total of 23 scouts, their 5 leaders, and 14 rangers/law enforcement personnel were walking search patterns on an unnamed shoreline when the first dropship came screaming down from the sky. Maria McConnor looked up from the small pile of fishing gear they had found in the search, not far from where the smoking glass disc in the woods. They had found several prints on the ground leading to the disc, but nothing else. She sighed. Now what? The ship came in at a frightening speed, then went nose up and landed on its aft. Because I can read again. The ship came in at a frightening speed, then went nose up and landed on its aft near the glassed area. Feeling a sense of foreboding, Maria picked up Geo's abandoned fillet knife and slowly walked towards the ship. A ramp came down as she watched from the unscorched underbrush, and then large doors opened. 5 creatures, a pair of oversized slugs, a walking teddy bear, 3-legged ostrich, and some kind of bat demon. The creatures, she refused to think of them as aliens, walked down the ramp, 3 heading towards the lake, the 2 slugs removing a large hose from a panel on the side of the ship, before following their companions. That doesn't read right. While the 2 slugs remove. Alright, this is going to take me a second before I can reread this. Okay. There we go. The creatures, she refused to think of them as aliens, walked down the ramp, three heading towards the lake, while the two slugs removed a large hose from a panel on the side of the ship, then followed their companions. She followed them slowly from the ship to the shoreline, where they were putting together something she thought looked like a pump. They were making so much noise, talking she assumed, that they didn't notice her as she approached. All right, you alien pendejos, where is my daughter? The aliens looked around, startled. Then the teddy bear looking one pulled a device from its belt, pointed it at her, and fired. She barely dodged the beam. In fear for her life, she pulled the fillet knife from its sheath and charged. Muscle memory from numerous self-defense classes kicking in, she hit the bear with her shoulder, knocking it down, its weapon flying off into the woods. The ostrich thing was in front of her, raising a wrench-like object. Alrighty, sorry. The ostrich thing was in front of her, raising a wrench-like object into the air. Maria brought her knife hand around, slashing the thing across the throat. The slug thing had eye stalks and mouth tentacles, and she threw. And she. I cannot speak today. I do apologize. This seems to happen every week. I call it performance anxiety, as opposed to other types of performance issues. The slug thing had eye stalks and mouth tentacles, and she threw up a bit in her throat at the sight. It came towards her, something in its wriggling tentacles. She brought the knife back around. It had the arguably good luck to drop itself out of the way of the blade, but not fast enough as the razor-sharp blade clipped off both of its eye stalks. The bat demon came in fast from her side, its sharp-pointed tail digging into her leg. The pain from the strike burned up her leg. Apparently, alright, this should just be pain. There we go. Pain from the strike burned up her leg, apparently poisoned. She lashed out, grabbing the tail with her free hand and yanking so hard, and Hank. Ugh. She lashed out, grabbing the tail with her free hand, and yanked as hard as she could, and the beast came towards her, not of its own volition. She ran the blade down one of the wings, shredding the membrane before throwing it into a nearby tree stump. The big teddy bear was on its feet again. It let out a fierce scream and charged. Maria ducked under its clawed hands, grabbed a fistful of fur, and using its own momentum hurled it after the bat. Panting, she looked up. The bird was bleeding out. The bat and bear were tangled up with each other. The slugs were huddling next to each other, one making noises into some device hanging from its throat. She took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Let it out slowly. Then yelled, "Where is my daughter, you alien pieces of shit?" as she slowly stalked towards them. She never saw the 4-meter wide beam of energy that lanced down from the sky and turned her and her enemies into glass. That should really be into ash. And that still doesn't read right. Never saw the 4-meter wide beam of energy that lanced down from the sky and turned her and her enemies into ash. I think there should be a that. There we go. No, no. I guess and does work better there. I don't know. My thinking's a little bit weird today. And another one of those silly triple stars. Yep, we're gonna do it again. Search for this pattern documents. Okay, 47 results. And we go advanced find. Replace. Replace with dash. Place all. 47 replacements. Good. That makes me happy when skies are gray. When the hollow vid of the events on Earth ended, the entire launch bay was so quiet that when the air circulation system kicked in, it was almost a relief. Geo cried. The anger, the pain, loss, the sting of it all was nearly overwhelming. She wept for her lost mother, her lost family, her baby sister, too young to come on the trip, her father stuck in the office. She cried for the Earth she could never return to, would never again call home. The Admiral continued, "We of the fleet are truly sorry for your loss, Miss McConnor. It wasn't our in... The hell you say? You kidnapped me, you killed my mother. For all I know, you destroyed my planet, killed everything and everyone that I loved and held dear," Geo yelled. Then, "Campy, power up all weapon systems, target enemy fleet, and prepare to fire on my order." Admiral Lucktruck was afraid. He could feel it in his whiskers, his bowels, and his tail. This girl was dangerous, and she had control of the biggest war crime that was not in a dry dock. "Please, Admiral Geo, in the name of the 17, please listen to the rest, please," he begged, his glands releasing fear pheromones. Just like every other, just like every, now it should be every other. Just like every, I put the other in the wrong spot. Love my life. Rid of that stupid flappy thing. His glands releasing fear pheromones, just like every other crew member on his bridge. "What do you want me to hear now, sewer-dwelling vermin? Why should I not punish you and the rest of this worthless place for the crimes you have perpetrated upon me and mine?" The voice was not pleasant. It was dead. Cold. Okay, I gotta reread that. What do you want me to hear now, sewer-dwelling vermin? Why should I not punish you and the rest of this worthless place for the crimes you have perpetrated upon me and mine? The voice was not pleasant. It was dead, cold, dripping with venom. The snarl on the Dirt Rockian's face was full of undisguised anger and malice. Because we ran from your world, we left it intact. Your people, in less than 24 of your hours, destroyed or captured the majority of our drop shuttles, outright killed 12,743 of our troops, and launched the largest barrage of nuclear weapons at the fleet that we had ever seen outside of a full naval conflict. We didn't know what hit us, Lucktruck coughed. Ferocity of your people, the scout group alone, or your scout group alone, accounted for some 400 dead. Your military devastated everything. No rules of war were followed. They slaughtered everyone in their path. We, regretfully, abandoned more than 20,000 soldiers, technicians, and civilian contractors on your planet. He waited, hoping he had said enough to quell the savage beast in front of him. Then finally, in a soft voice, "So, Dirt Rockians kicked your ass? And my mother was just the first one to do it?" The creature of myth and legend, of tales of the dark depths of space, asked, showing its teeth. To put it mildly, yes," Lucktruck replied. What else could he say? The fleet had lost much that day. Too much. It was the biggest defeat, biggest cause of shame it had ever known, and its biggest abandonment of its soldiers. Geo gave a viciously savage smile. "All right, Campy? Oh, Campy, my Campy." "Yes, Admiral Geo," came the response. How are my weapon systems? Geo asked with a smile full of teeth. Everything is as ready as it can be. Missile bays are empty. Sliver cannon point defense systems are 97% online. All third tier capital class Mark III weapon systems are at 41% power and holding steady. Campy responded. Firing solutions are ready. What are your orders? Part of me wants to say fire, another part of me wants to stay my hand, said Geo. Campy, what should I do? If I may, Captain Laud nervously stepped forward. Geo nodded. I think you should look deep inside yourself for the answer. Does your inner voice cry for vengeance, peace, justice for the long dead? Does it call for the absolute obliteration of the thousand beings before you? Geo stood still, thinking deeply. What do I want? Vengeance? Justice? Just want to be left alone? The seconds started to move towards minutes when she finally spoke. I I think I will. Campy, stand down all weapons. I will not murder those in front of me for the sins of their forebearers. Looking straight into the hollow, her eyes pierced through it. I will not kill you and yours today. It is not your fault what happened so long ago. But if you or yours get in my way, I will not be so lenient again. Do you understand, Admiral Mickey? He turned away from the hollow. Captain Laud, you can deal with this guy from now on. I'm going to find a room and take a nap. It had been 4 hours, and Admiral Lucktruck was tired. Not only had the Dirt Rockian lived up to the legend, but her presence was just threatening. Like an armed grenade just sitting there quietly. Oop, to remove that. Every time she would show up in the hollow, he would stop talking, his heart unwillingly twitching in fear. He had to resort to dumping the atmosphere on the bridge and have maintenance scrub it down with sanitizer to get rid of the smell. At least Captain Laud was good company. Unfortunately, Captain Laud was also good at negotiating. All right, fine, Captain Laud. I understand you will not give up the Death Nautilus. What about the Mark III cannons? Admiral Lucktruck said, giving in. The Admiral has dictated that any and all parts of the ship that you want will cost you 15 billion credits each, Captain Laud stated. We have been over this several times. Do I need to call the Admiral in to explain it? Dear 17, no, Lucktruck twitched. What can you do for me then? I need something, anything to pass on to the Grand Admiral. Anything. Well, Geo has said that she is willing to give her word not to use the Mark III weapons except when they are truly called for, Captain Laud replied. Otherwise, she has stated that she wants to get going, as we have packages to deliver and a ship to crew. Water break, and now I'm out of Mountain Dew. Uno momento, por favor. All right, my gopher has been sent for more soda. Hopefully she doesn't hit me on the way past from calling her that. All right, back from the break. Geo had found, with Campy's help, a room in which to take a nap. It was larger than her bedroom back home. Home. Home was a hard thing for her to think about. It was gone. It was all gone. What would she do? She had no place to go. No place to call home. No place. No place but here. She made a decision. This was her home now. This ship. For good or bad, this was where she would live. And no one would take it from her. Not now, not ever. She put her possessions down on the small table in the cabin, chucked her dirty clothes in a corner, and lay down on the bed. Sleep came quickly and was, thankfully, dreamless. Geo was awoken a few short hours later by a knocking on her door. She sat up, looked around, trying to figure out where she was, until the experiences of the day caught up with her. She shuddered a bit, then got out of bed. Looking around, she saw that her old clothes had been moved to a basket that she didn't remember being there earlier. Also, there was a pile of what looked like new clothing on the table next to her gear. "What do you want?" she yelled while getting dressed. The clothing was in all ways, minus the stains, identical to her scout uniform that she had thrown in the corner a scant few hours ago. "It is Greg. I have come with food and to give you a proper physical," was the answer. For shits and giggles, Geo said, "Door, open." Unsurprisingly, the door didn't open. "Come in, Greg." Slug-like creature scuttled in. "You seem to have more color now that you have had some decent sleep. Here is some tasteless NutriPaste for you to consume. Once we have a good baseline of your biosystem, the galley can make something more to your taste." Taking the pair of toothpaste-like tubes from Greg, Geo sucked them down while the medic did its job. After almost 10 minutes, the physical was done. "You were right, this is tasteless. I kinda like it. Way better than what I got to eat at scout camp. Beanies and weenies was way worse than this." I remember beanies and weenies very not fondly. Take can of baked beans, take package of hot dogs, chop hot dogs into little bits, mix with the beans, heat, feed the people. Oh, and it gave so many people the gas. Not even funny. Alright, it was kind of funny, but still it wasn't great. And they always used the cheapest beans, too. It was nasty. Alright, beanies and weenies was way worse than this. Geo half smiled at the memories of camp, then almost teared up thinking about the friends she would never see again. "Well, Doc, what do you know? I now have a complete record of your genetic data, gut flora and fauna, as well as bone density and mass. Did you know that you have ceramic in your mouth, a microtransmitter under your collarbone, and a plastic and metal chunk blocking your reproductive organs?" Grigg said. "Yes, those are fillings from cavities. The transmitter was for being found on dirt rock if I got lost," Geo explained, getting up and stretching. "The last is an implanted birth control method." "Birth control? Your people can control how they give birth?" Grigg was showing a large amount of animation. Yeah, kinda." Geo's face started turning red. It's not something we talk about much, though. Basically, the implant blocks the. It keeps me from getting pregnant. You know, birth control." She was definitely not comfortable with this conversation. Wasn't going to mention the hormonal treatment the implant regulated for her female bits to work properly. Grigg being a doctor or no. "So, what's going on elsewhere on the ship?" she asked, trying to turn the conversation away from reproduction. "How is Laud doing, talking to Mickey?" They walked out onto the corridor and started heading to the bridge. "Well, Campy has been inserting clips of you walking into and around the meeting room whenever the Admiral starts making demands. It seems to be working out well. The crew is taking bets as to when the Admiral has an aneurysm," an amused Grigg said. "We still haven't gotten things figured out about the survivors, or what we're actually supposed to be doing." "Well, I think I should impose myself upon Mickey and ask what he wants done with survivors," Geo smiled. "I think it should be fun." The door to the meeting room slid open, and Admiral Geo walked in. "So, Captain Laud, how are negotiations going?" Geo studiously ignored Lucktruck on the holo. "Have you come to any agreement on the prisoners we are holding?" "Well, Admiral, apparently all of the prisoners are going to be immediately discharged, and we will be paid to take them to our next stop," Captain Laud said, taking the chance to stretch. "The deceased will be transferred to Admiral Lucktruck's possession, and we'll be paid the usual collection fees for the bodies. Otherwise, we have come up with nothing." "Well, it's good to see that the last several hours have been well spent," Geo Geo said, finally. Yeah, this definitely needs to have a little bit of a rewrite. There we go. Well, it's good to see that the last several hours have been well spent, Geo said, and finally turned to look at Admiral Lucktruck. Do you have anything else to say, or shall we be on our way? She said with a smile that showed all her teeth. Well, Admiral Geo, would you please sell us your Mark III cannons? I need to tell the Grand Admiral that we got something in the way of concessions. Lucktruck responded. Lod spoke up. I have already told him that you said 15 billion credits per item removed. And edit space. Okay. Per item removed. He has thus far refused. Geo did her best not to start. Lod continued. And that you would be willing to give your word not to use the Mark III weapons outside of an emergency situation. Glad you did, Geo said with another sharp smile. So, how about this? You tell your Grand Admiral that I promise. Darn it. You tell your Grand Admiral that I promise, on my honor as a scout, to do my best, to do my duty, to my crew and the certified League of Sentient Beings to which they belong. I will obey your laws so long as they don't interfere with the liberty of myself and my crew. In addition to this pledge of allegiance, I will allow myself and my crew to be called into service no more than twice a year by the fleet of protectors. She smiled again. Will that be sufficient, Mickey? I am unsure, Lucktruck started to say when a loud shout was heard across his bridge. Grand Admiral on deck. Yeah, I think someone might be getting a little too deep. Well, no. Nah, I'm not going to say anything. Chapter 9. A large and imposing member of the bat-like insert alien name here that still needs to be replaced, was striding across the bridge towards Admiral Lucktruck. How can this day get even worse, Lucktruck thought. Did I kill an Udzi in a former life? Or do the 17 just hate me? He stood at attention, saluting the Grand Admiral. Sir, I did not realize you would be coming. At ease, Grand Admiral. Why did I use such silly whackety whack on keyboard names? Grand Admiral XP said, waving off the salute. Admiral Geo, I will accept your terms, but with one or two caveats. Admiral Lucktruck, good job. I will take it from here. Thank the 17 I don't have to deal with this cluster anymore. Lucktruck thought. Thank you, sir. That should be a period, not a comma. Thank you, sir. He turned and left the bridge, doing his best not to appear to be retreating. Riddance. The large Thui that filled the hollow caused Geo to flinch. The memories of her mother's fight being too fresh in her mind to hold back the reaction. What can I do for you, Grand Admiral? She said, trying to recover. What do you have in mind to alter the deal? The most important thing is, you will, in no uncertain terms, never try, and I do mean never try, to repair your primary or secondary weapon systems. I will not demand that they be removed, as they are well and truly integrated into your ship. Secondly, that you will only. I need to italicize that for emphasis. That you will only put yourself at my disposal, not the fleet in general, the Grand Admiral said. A little puzzled at this, Geo asked, and why not bring myself up to full strength? Is there something that I need to know about my home that you aren't telling me? Yes, yes, there is. And no, I will not tell you anything about it. I should say new home, otherwise it is a little confusing as to whether or not she's talking about Earth or Dirt Rock. Oh, okay, is there something that I need to know about my new home that you aren't telling me? Yes, yes, there is. Da 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 da. The Grand Admiral responded. Very well, then I will have to modify the deal myself, Geo sighed, and stretched again. I will only avail myself to you once a year, with no rollover of missed services. Also, you will pay me 15 billion credits for the loss of my primary and secondary weapon systems. Deal! XP gave the equivalent to a smile for his species. I will have the monies transferred immediately after you sign this agreement face to face. Captain Laud gave a surprised chirp, bottom beak dropping. Very well, Grand Admiral. I will see you in an hour in our currently opened bay. Yo gave her best smile. Goodbye, sir. With a wave of her hand, she dismissed the hollow before the Grand Admiral could respond. She turned to Laud. How intercourse are we, Laud? How badly did I just stick my foot in it? Captain Laud just shook his head. We are well and truly intercoursed, Admiral. 45 minutes, and a metric poo-ton of cleaning later, the 19 members of the crew were standing in the docking bay. Now remember, everyone, Theo was speaking. That needs a comma. This guy is some grand high muckety-muck. We need to be polite and courteous. Admiral Geo, ma'am, a Yeti-like of... Alright, there's another one I need to change. General Bob, didn't realize you were just reading books on your streams, Vast. Well, we're reading and editing a pair of books that I wrote, or in one case, am in the middle of writing. You just happened to catch into the second half of the broadcast. Everybody say hi to General Bob. Everyone who doesn't want to, well, poop on you. All right. Need to be polite and courteous. Admiral Geo, ma'am, a Yeti like blah 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 that she couldn't remember the name of raised his hand. Do you not actually know who Grand Admiral XP is? Geo winced. No, I actually don't. There was a sudden intake of breath across the bay as her crew and the POWs gasped in unison. And we re-edit. Silly things. The OVDs. The alien species, here enter new name, was the first to overcome their shock. Okay. XP is the epitome of the proper soldier, a living legend in the fleet, as well as the CLSB. Even our enemies respect him. No criminal organization will raise a hand to him. So what you're saying is... And... Bloop, bloop. So what you're saying... So what... Contraction, everybody, take a drink. So what you're saying is, don't climb on his back and try to choke him out, like I did to Big Blue back there? Geo responded, getting a small bit of laughter from the assembly. Thank you for the... Jeez, my throat is dead today. You know, it's been a harsh week. Christmas. I'm actually going to stop and be honest about something. Yeah, that'll be a first. No, it's not actually the first. Anyway, Christmas morning a year ago at about 4 a.m., one of my best friends died in his sleep in the ICU at the hospital. He was 2 years older than I am, so he would have been 52 this year. And every time I think about it, it just hurts. It got better over the year, and then Christmas showed up, and the depression hit, and the I'm never gonna see my buddy again, and it sucks. Losing someone in the prime of life, or losing someone, the losing someone, when you're young, it hits hard and it hurts, and it'll always hurt, and it sucks. Ugh. And Bob heard my name. I wasn't paying full attention since I'm still doing the princess game. Ah, yub yub. Well, have fun in that princess game, Bob. Do me a favor, nut punch someone for me, 'cause it'll be funny. And thank you for listening anyway. All right. Gio responded, getting a small bit of laughter from the assembly. Thank you for the information. I'll keep it in mind. Precisely 5 minutes early, a drop shuttle landed in the bay. A ramp slid out, and a door large enough to disgorge a main battle tank opened. A lone figure strolled out of the ship and down the ramp, ending up a few feet from Geo. Well met, Admiral Geo, and well played with the hollow insert of yourself to disturb Admiral Lucktruck. I was very amused. He made a happy gesture with his highly decorated tail. While I would love to take credit for that idea, my ship's AI, Campy, deserves the credit. Geo gave a genuine smile. Her crew gasped at the show of aggression. Ah, good to know that the AI has a sense of humor. Now I believe we have a contract to sign, said XP, hiding his surprise at the show of teeth. Must be some form of cultural thing, he thought, as several people walked down the ramp carrying recording equipment and started setting up. Um, XP, what are they doing? Geo asked, alarmed. You didn't say anything about reporters. I thought this would make an excellent impression on the gentle beings back home. Seeing the two of us signing a non-aggression, mutual defense treaty will put a positive spin on both of our images, XP replied while straightening his immaculate uniform. If you absolutely insist, I will tell them to pack up, but I really think, considering the history between our peoples, that it would be for the best. Geo thought fast. I have a business to run, I now have people to care for, and a home to maintain. Excuse me. Any publicity is good publicity. Dad, I really wish you were here to help. Alright, why did that end up like that? Space. Do it that way. Get rid of space. Very well, but I get 19% of any profits gained from airing the footage for the next 6 months. You are a very shrewd individual, Admiral Geo. I look forward to working with you in the future, XP responded. May I invite the rest of my staff to come out now? But of course, Grand Admiral, Geo said absent-mindedly, her mind still racing with thoughts and plans. Around the bay, several beings appeared, having turned off their stealth suits. Geo did her best not to jump, but failed. What? When? Stealth suits. I should have known something like this would happen. She drew her sidearms, pointing them very carefully not at XP. I will now respectfully ask that the rest of you uncloak yourselves before I have Campy unleash the anti-boarding weapons. I certainly hope we have anti-boarding weapons. That won't be necessary, Admiral, XP said, hands outstretched in a placating manner. Then announced with a cool and practiced voice, All troops, stealth suits off. A full dozen more troops appeared. I believe that's everyone, Admiral. Geo shook her head. Thank you, Grand Admiral XP. She holstered her weapons. I believe we should now set up for the cameras. As such things go, the press made a giant ordeal of the proceedings. Angles had to be adjusted, entrances reshot. What in the ever-loving fig tree? Entrances reshot, close-ups of Geo, panoramic shots of the hangar deck and crew, still pictures of the signing as well as recordings, interviews with the POWs and crew. All in all, the 15-minute procedure took 3 hours to properly choreograph. Once it was all over, Geo slumped in her chair, looked up to the high ceiling, and said, "Campy, I want a beer. What do you have in stores?" "I believe we have managed to synthesize a physialcoholic beverage that you can safely consume," was Campy's prompt response. "Good. Please also serve something alcoholic to our guests, as well as some sort of food," said Geo. "We don't want to be seen as poor hosts now, do we?" She thought for a moment, then whispered, "Oh, and make the news people's drinks stronger than everyone else's. I want to see what they will I'm sure that's not the proper spelling. Oh yes, and contraction, everyone take a shot. I want to see what they'll spill as far as information." "Very good, ma'am," was Campy's reply, a sparkle in his voice. It had turned out to be a very fun reception that turned into an even more pleasant after-party when Geo introduced the Marines to volleyball. As the alcohol loosened the tongues and unwound the nervous, the party progressed to a happy conclusion. Geo, only having had one drink, and it wasn't that good, found herself thinking, "That needs a comma. Why do people even drink this stuff? Must be an acquired adult taste thing." Once things wound down and the guests had left, Geo had Campy sweep the Nautilus for anyone left behind. None were detected. She went to her quarters and went to sleep. Geo awoke feeling refreshed. On the table, she found food and beverage and consumed them. "I need to find out who is doing this and thank them for it," she thought. Oh dear, this is back to the to herself. It's kind of obvious she's thinking to herself. And that should be a small s because it comes after a comma. All right. I need to find out who's. Oh, this is quite the drinking game, folks, because there's another contraction. Take your shot. I need to find out who's doing this and thank them for it, she thought. "Campy, what time is it?" "It is 0730, was the quick response. "Do we have a central meeting hall anywhere on board?" "Yes, we do. Would you like me to call an all-hands meeting?" "If you would, yes. Oh, and would you give me a rundown on our next port of call?" 30 minutes later, the entire population of the Nautilus. Oh, that needs to be italicized. Was seated in a large room near the bridge. "All right, folks. I'm not well versed in the whole public speaking thing, but here goes." Geo took a deep breath. "I, as most of you know, am Admiral Geo. Yes, I know. To truly be an admiral, you need a fleet of ships at your command. Don't be pedantic." She looked around while speaking, seeing most of the beings in the room paying attention. "Our next destination, I am told, is a fairly large station in the Grespa 3 system." Some of the beings chuckled, others gasped. "Yes, I know. It is apparently. Oh, contraction. Take a shot. It's apparently a less than stellar place, but we have a delivery to make. Now, on the off chance that some of you may not want to be dropped there, I would be more than willing to hire you at what Campy has assured me are appropriate rates for your specialties. Yes, you in the back? A comma. Yes." She pointed at a squid person who was waving a tentacle for attention. "TransUnion wasn't always the best at wages. Is this a good time to renegotiate my pay?" it asked. "Over the next several hours, I plan on going through everyone's personnel files to see what they were paid and why. If I discover discrepancies, they will be fixed." She took a drink from a water flask. As for pay grades, general wages, bonuses, and raises, I will be working with Captain Laud and Campy to work something out. The assembly started talking excitedly. Looking over to Captain Laud, she quietly asked, "What did I say?" Laud, who was just excited as everyone else, looked at her and said, "Bonuses." That, no, Captain Laud does not abbreviate. He does not do contractions. Bonuses. That is something that is unheard of, at least outside of corporate executives and the like. Normal workers like us never see such things. Ever. "Oh, I guess you never got overtime either then," she said. "What is overtime?" Captain Laud asked. Imagine a job or a world where they didn't understand overtime. I think it's hilarious. All right, what is overtime? Captain Laud asked. Oh boy, do we ever have work to do. OSHA and the Department of Labor would have a field day out here, Geo sighed. Well, time to kick things into high gear, then louder so that everyone could hear her. I want this ship ready to depart in 2 hours. You have until arrival at Grespa 3 to make your decisions about employment. If you don't want to be dropped off there, we will be forced to charge you the appropriate fare as passengers. She looked at the assemblage of people. They were just people now. Her people. Dismissed. In just under 2 hours, the jump to hyperspace was made, and pushing the envelope at 12C, they would arrive at just under 3 days. You know, I really need to figure out. I have it written down in my notes somewhere, but I need to encapsulate somewhere the time and distance thing. Uh, Maybe I just should just do a Silmarillion after I'm done with the third book that just has all the technical spats, or maybe include them at the end of each book. Uh, they are effectively doing 12C a day. Anyone watching, C stands for speed of light, so they're doing 12 times the speed of light every day. So in one day, they would make it 12 light years. That would be, let's see now. Going at 1C would be take us 4 years to get to Alpha Centauri, I believe. Doing it 2C would be half of that. At 12C, they'd get there in like 8 hours. So they travel 12 light years every 24 hours, or what Geo would think of as 24 hours. All right, back to the story. Looking over the holo display, we'll call him Yudge for the moment. Looking over the holo display, Yudge asked, "Well, Uncle, what do you think?" "I think that if we don't make very sure of things, this is going to be the worst thing that could ever happen," XP said. "Then let's make sure that everything works out," said Yudge. Interlude, Earth, 2042. It was summer in the Boundary Waters canoe area. A year had passed since the One-Day War. A large mass of people were present to place the final piece of the memorial. Dear Lord, I was. Well, even the best authors have bad days. I just have more of them. That makes me better, right? All right. It was summer in the Boundary Waters canoe area. A year had passed since the One-Day War. A large mass of people were present to place the final piece at the memorial of the first casualties. James McConnor Esquire and his 3-year-old daughter, Christy, were front and center for the ceremony. It was still also surreal. Maria and Geo were off camping, there was a war, then the footage of Maria's death was shown at the war tribunal. Now he was a public figure. It should have been her, not him. He was stone-faced throughout the entire ceremony. There were 4 religious speakers at the ceremony: a rabbi, a Roman Catholic priest, an imam, and a pagan high priestess. They all talked about the horrors of war, the loss of innocence, and that we were no longer alone in the galaxy. The names of the missing and fallen were read, those of the scouts, rangers, and police. The only survivor, a scout now aged 15, who would forever walk with a limp, and had escaped with the footage of the battle, slowly walked to the memorial and placed Geo's lure-encrusted fishing hat on top of the memorial. Then they retraced their steps to the back of the assembled people and out of sight. Mr. James McConnor, Esquire, husband and father of the deceased, wept. Asterisk. Suffering from a huge amount of survivor's guilt, they will disappear into the canoe area. They would disappear into the canoe area, never to be heard from again. Earth, 2052. The aliens. Ooh, this is going to be the last chapter that we're reading because it's getting end time. Earth, 2052. The aliens trapped on Earth had finally managed some integration into society, and in some cases had children. Schools became a hotbed issue, again. For the second time in 100 years, segregation reared its head. It was a time of civil unrest, protests, riots, violent clashes with police, and aliens being burned in effigy. At the age of 13, Christy McConnor was just trying to get through middle school. She was on the way into school after soccer practice when a reporter stepped out of an alcove and asked, "Ms. McConnor, since your mother and sister were killed by the aliens, you, of course, believe that school segregation should be kept in place, correct?" Just a moment. All right. Christy thought for almost 2 seconds before replying, with her foot to his crotch. Christy thought for almost 2 seconds before replying, with her foot to his crotch. "If you ever think of taking my mother or sister's name in vain again, I will show you what it's like to be hung from a tree. You know, like a lynching? Like my mom's great-grandpa had happened to him." She kicked him in the crotch again for good measure, before walking inside. Her father got her off of assault charges and collected a hefty settlement from the news agency involved. Desegregation came to the schools in the next few months. Earth, 2079. It wasn't pretty, but with her colleagues, alien and human alike, they had finished the first Terran-made hyperspace vessel. Christie was proud of her team. Every one of them had committed everything they had to the project. No one had been found lacking, no one had been found wanting. The test flight to Alpha Centauri and back had taken 7 days. The berthing at L4 station had been smooth and flawless. It brought the team much accolades and awards. It also brought with it news. Ominous news. Some 10 light-years distant, an emergency signal had been heard. Headed this way was a small armada of alien life, refugees from the Galactic Civil War. Earth was to be invaded again, this time by refugees. Earth, 2080. The refugees finally arrived, starving, sick, penniless. Luckily, the infrastructure was already in place to assist, and many were placed at the fledgling Mars and Moon colonies. Earth, 2095. Space was no longer the final frontier. Colonies had been started on Mars and Earth's moon 15 years past. Now, almost every rock in the system had a station or colony on it. FTL flight ships of both Terran and alien make were out looking for systems with planets in the Goldilocks zone. Things were coming together nicely. Earth, February 2103. Having had enough of governmental and corporate control, most solar colonies rebel. Belled. I'm sure that's the wrong spelling. We'll run a spell check eventually. Earth. Sorry. Earth, December 21st, 2120. After 17 long years of fighting, the war ended. Not with a bang, but a whimper. On both sides, the will to keep fighting had finally run dry, and with the casualties mounting, they had had enough. With the final concessions made, the First Colony War was over. The death toll was high. No one walked away happy. No one had won. Earth, 2141. It was summer in the Boundary Waters canoe area. 100 years had passed since the One-Day War. A large mass of people were present to place the fishing hat on top of the memorial, the last casualties of war. 17 species were present. The keynote speaker was the great-grandson of Maria McConnor. He spoke with love and emotion about his family's role in the war, of the loss of so many, of his grandmother's accomplishments, and his great-grandfather's final words. Don't hold hate in your heart, it will burn you. Instead, love your enemies, make them your friends, your allies, your partners. Earth, April 19th, 2203. With the entire solar system watching, the first official FTL colony ship Armada was leaving Sol for 23 of the surveyed worlds. The celebratory crowds on overcrowded Terra and Mars were jubilant, and the rest of the system wasn't far behind. The ships were gone in a little under 3 hours. The parties and ceremonies would last for more than a week. Earth, May 10th, 2203. The last of the colonies had checked in, and none were having any significant issues. 3 days later, the human-only colony at Beta Cygni stopped broadcasting. It took a week to muster troops and arrive on site, taking appropriate biohazard precautions. An investigation of the settlement turned up all the colonists dead. Cause of death was finally pinpointed: a local virus. All right, that brings us to 10:01 p.m. Start reading here. Let's make that really, really big so I actually see it next time I'm looking for it. Like that big. And bold, and italic, and underline, so I really don't miss it. Well, ladies, gentlemen, both and neither, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to my little chat. And, yeah. Oh, and for my readers, I do humbly, I'm never humble, I apologize for not posting a story chapter on Thursday. It was the day after Christmas, and I was brain dead. Anyway, all y'all, thank you for being here. Enjoy yourselves. Be good. Go outside and do something. Have some fun. I'm trying to think of happy things to say, and I really don't have that many. So, yeah, let's just have that be the end. We'll see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Toodles.